Hey guys, it's Kay from KS Anonymous, and I am back today with another episode of r/Entitled People. There is nothing passive about my aggression. FYI on mobile. This lady in my apartment complex never picks up her dog's poop. And her dog is a freaking adorable Mastiff with poops so big your whole foot gets covered if you step in it. The surrounding apartments complained, and the management gave her an ultimatum: pick it up or be fined. So she chose option 3, pooping off apartment property. She now walks her dog the 5 feet off apartment property that happens to be right in front of the uncovered bus stop I use to get to work. For the past week, dog poop has been piling up around the bus stop. I was running late yesterday, and while I stood there, she walks up. Normally, I would ask to pet a pupper, but I was in work clothes and didn't want dog hair all over me, so I didn't say anything. He does his business, sniffs it, looks at me, and then turns to go. And she starts to walk away. I'm like, WTF. I give it a beat and call out, "Yo, miss." She turned around and I point at the dog poop. "You forgot to pick that up." She blinks and says, "No," and turns around and starts to walk away. I stand there for a sec, then yell, "Hey, pick it up!" She keeps walking, looking at her phone, back to the apartment complex. I think, F it, and jog up in front of her, startling the big pupper. I genuinely feel bad for stressing him out, who comes to a halt, stopping her. I say, "Pick up the poop. It's a busy bus stop," a lie, "and we are all tired of picking our way over the poop to get home." True. She is completely expressionless. "It's not my problem," and tries to pull the dog around me. He's stressed out and growls a bit at me, so I stand there and let her leave. She turns and goes into an apartment. My bus rolls by, so I walked up to the office and asked, WTF. They explain the story and sound really annoyed by the whole thing and promise to talk to her. I call an Uber and go to work. My husband picks me up from work in the evening, so I don't see the bus stop until this morning. No poop. As I stand there with the 3 regulars I normally ride with, I see her door open and she stomps up to the bus stop. No dog. "Way to be a passive-aggressive biatch. They fined me," was how she greeted me. I had a flashback to college when a flatmate accused me of being passive-aggressive for calling her mom to ask for her half of the 2 months of utilities, which I had been directly asking for, and she said she would get me this weekend 3 times, and I threatened to call her mom. I don't see how that is passive. I'm a direct person, and being called passive-aggressive makes me want to punch people in the face. However, I like my job and no criminal history, so instead I took a huge step forward in her personal space and growled, "There is nothing passive about my aggression, you entitled crap." She took 2 steps back and looked at the other people waiting for the bus, who were hardcore ignoring us. Then opened her mouth to say something, and I cut her off. "Go home." And she did. The end. Hopeful, or she may report me for threatening her, I don't know. I'm still high on adrenaline, and it's been hours, so whatever. I like that. There's nothing passive about my aggression. At least that's straightforward. Like, obviously, you were told pick it up. God. Did you be so entitled to, like, let your dog, your giant dog, take a massive crap and then just walk away and ignore people like it's not your problem? It's your problem. You own the dog. Oh my gosh. So, a girl that trialed at the place I work at got a bit too sad she didn't receive the position. "Hi, it's so-and-so from the trial the other day. I just wanted to text you that I hope you give me the position. I'm in desperate need of money and my dad is kicking me out." "Hello, blank. Sorry, but we fulfilled the position." Sorry, but no, I can't accept that. Did you not see my text? I'm being kicked out. I need the job now." I have. I'm sorry that that's happening to you, but the decision was made by the higher-ups. LMAO. Wow, get effed. Like, seriously? I need this job, you effing whore. Excuse me? All you ever do is show off your tits and rear for the customers anyway. LMAO, have fun when I get rich off of being an influencer while you're still a crappy manager at a restaurant. I'm sorry? Like I said, I didn't make the final decision. Whatever, you SLUT. Effing kill yourself. I'm what you needed, LMAO. All the other girls are a 3 or under. Boys won't come here if they don't have some eye candy for themselves. I'm sorry, but we're not Hooters. If you have a complaint, you can take it up with the club themselves. However, raging like a kid who just had their doll taken away from them ain't gonna change a thing. Goodbye. Wow, you're not even a good person too. LMAO, bet you don't even have a boyfriend because you're just some Asian biatch. Kill yourself. Really? You really? Oh my God. I'm astounded. Like, I've read so many ridiculous things shared on Reddit, but for some reason this one, I am floored right now that someone would really, oh my gosh, I'm embarrassed for you. So this next post was sent to me by Jinja Ninja. They are one of my viewers and patrons, so thank you so much for sending this in. So for background, my family is pretty big. My grandparents on my mom's side, dad's side hasn't been family to me since I was 5, had 6 children. Then they all got married and had various kids. My mom had 2 older brothers and me. Now in 2009, my grandma passed. Then in 2011, my mom passed. Both of those had a major effect on the turnout of my grandpa's will, which came out when he passed 1 year ago today, November 11th, 2018. And that's where this all started. So when my grandpa, OG from here on, passed, I didn't know anything about him passing on his wealth. And he had a lot, but not in cash stowed away, so no one knew how much it was at first. So his will said that if his wife passed away before him, his wealth would be distributed evenly between his 6 children, and if any of them passed, that 1/6 would be divided among their children evenly. So, since our mom passed, we had to take part in signing recognition that we were getting inheritance. Now, the oddest part is that my entitled uncle, EU from here on, ended up being the person that dealt directly with the lawyers handling my grandpa's estate, even though he was married into the family and not a direct descendant of my grandpa. So, when the first papers were sent around, we signed them as they were normal. And then, a few months later, entitled uncle started messaging me and my brothers, saying that there were more papers assigned for us specifically. Now, our mom had always been the black sheep of her siblings. She was already mostly ignored by her siblings, and they ended up treating us poorly due to being her children. So this new issue of more papers seemed wrong. But me and my next oldest brother, middle brother or MB, didn't really care. We already don't talk to aunts and uncles, so we didn't really think about it before signing. We just wanted to be done with them. However, my oldest brother, OB, didn't give in to entitled uncle's request to sign the papers blindly. He is 10 years older than my middle brother, 13 years older than me, and knew about our family's shunning of our mother and didn't trust entitled uncle even before this. Instead, he read the papers and completely lost it with entitled uncle. Most of Grandpa's wealth was in properties he owned. He had 4 properties, which totaled to about $160,000. The papers he had currently were me and my brothers essentially saying we were fine with aunts and uncles taking control of those properties and losing that portion of our inheritance, which was a huge portion. Instead, older brother got a lawyer of his own to look at the new documents and asked what our options were. The lawyer first went to my entitled uncle to stop his power trip. He stripped his power completely and had a new document sent out from Grandpa's estate that said anything that was owned by Grandpa or anything that had stocks or shares of would all be sold or paid out in cash and added in the estate's total and divided out as written exactly in the will. They then took the properties out from anyone's name and they put the market value of each property into the grand total for my grandpa's estate. If they want the properties now, they do have the chance to purchase them, but they can't take the property as inheritance anymore. Also, we learned recently that entitled uncle had actually been planning on screwing us from day one. Since Grandpa passed, entitled uncle had started having construction done on his house. He was expecting to be able to cover it easily with his inheritance. But now that the $160,000 in properties is getting distributed, almost $8,700 each for me, middle brother, and older brother, he is going to have enough trouble paying for the work already completed. I see it as not only revenge for trying to screw us, but also for them treating my mom like filth for most of her life. I think it's disgusting how people act when loved ones die. a lot of people just turn out to be like monsters when money and things are involved. And it's just really awful that they treated your mom like that in the first place and then treated you guys like trash too after everyone had passed. That's just awful. But I'm so glad your older brother stepped in and that things were set right and that uncle is going to have so much fun coming up with money that he doesn't have. Guest didn't want to pay parking fee. Guest was furious about parking charge. Hello all. I'm a front desk rep at a hotel in the downtown area of a major city. A little context about the property. Parking here is limited, but not ridiculous. We offer complimentary parking outside on the property or garage parking for $10 a night. If a guest wants indoor parking, it's their own guaranteed spot with in and out privileges. The outside lot is first come, first serve, and is not guaranteed. There are some nights when we are sold out of parking inside and outside, and when that happens, there are complimentary options around the hotel, or folks can pay for a diamond lot parking spot. Anyways, I checked in a lady during a wrestling tournament, and, like all check-ins, I explained the parking situation and warned that the outside lot will be filled up by 7 to 8 p.m. It always does on sold-out nights. She says, "No problem, I won't be leaving and I won't be paying $10 for a spot." I say, okay, finish the check-in process and send her on her way. Later, the parking lot outside is full up and I have one spot left in the garage. This lady comes in and immediately starts yelling about there not being any parking outside. I calmly start to tell her about the spot inside and she says, "Well, I'm not paying." I then start to explain the other parking options around the hotel, mainly the complimentary ones. She says, "You're not going to give me the spot inside? That's ridiculous. You and your company are just a bunch of greedy a-holes. Who the heck wants to pay for parking? I'm paying $200 for this room. Parking should be included." Blah, 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 etc., etc., etc. While she is yelling, I grab a map of the area that shows where the overflow parking is, the metered parking, and the diamond lots are, with prices shown, staple my GM's business card to it, and write my name on the back of it. I hand it to her and say with a smile, "Miss, I do not make the policies around here. I just enforce them. If you have a problem with the way I've handled this, please let my GM know. Here are your parking options." She looks at the paper. She looks at me. And then back to the paper. Silence. While we were having this moment, a gentleman walked in. I checked him in earlier, so I recognized him. I asked how I could help him, and he asked for parking inside. I told him I have one spot left. He said he will take it and gave me $10. The lady then started yelling at him that the spot inside was hers, and that the gentleman did not have the right to take it. I told her it's his because he is paying for it, and she refused to. She stormed off and found another spot elsewhere. I came back the next day to a bad medallia review and a note from my GM asking me to text her my side of the situation. I got no blowback from it, however. My GM, after hearing my side, praised me for the way I handled the situation. What do you guys think? Why do I feel like this person has dealt with this kind of situation multiple times to be able to react that calmly? Like, here are your options. Here's my GM's card. Now go away. I was just very amused by that response. She doesn't even have the apartment yet.
Well, I've lost my faith in humanity here in Oklahoma. I'm part of 3 women who are in desperate need of people to help move, and nowhere was any Christian charity found at all. I called and called churches, the lighthouse, and begged people if they knew of anyone who could help load and unload the U-Haul truck. So here I sit in my car, after only a couple of hours of sleep in the cold, wondering what has happened to people, helping people even at last minute. It's a sad day when everyone seemed to have forgotten how to offer a helping hand, and the only payment we have is the offering of some food to take back home for the holidays. Thanks for nothing.
This would be my state. This would be my state. Oh my gosh. But the fact that she doesn't even have the apartment yet, just come on. There's three of you. When I was a teenager, my mom had us girls by herself. So it was primarily 3 females, 2 of which were under the age of 18. Guess what? We moved our stuff. I don't know why you guys couldn't figure out how to move your stuff. Maybe it's because you don't have an apartment yet. So stop boo-hooing on the internet. Okay, thanks. There's always an entitled customer when you work in a vet clinic. I work in a vet clinic which also has a cattery attached. We are open Monday through Saturday and closed on Sundays. On our website, it clearly states the cattery drop-off and pickup times, as we have dedicated cattery staff who manage all incoming and outgoing cats. I have so many stories about entitled people, but here's one I dealt with today. Definitely not the worst, but one that has really bugged me today. Cast, me, C, cat's owner, our client, EP, client's friend, aka Karen. This particular client had already extended their stay as she was in the hospital having surgery. Not a big deal, and this happens quite often. However, the client rung today and spoke to me. Good morning, vet clinic, OP speaking. How can I help? I was wondering what time I could pick up my cat today. I've only just been discharged from hospital and I'm waiting for my friend. We should get there by 1 p.m. That's perfectly fine. Whatever time you need to get here is okay. Our cattery staff are still here, so they can help you. If not, one of the nurses can go back and get your cat for you. Thank you. See you then. At about 1:30 p.m., EP walks in and says she's here to collect the client's cat. That's not a problem. That'll be X amount. I don't understand this bill. It's way too high. The cost is for X amount of days that the cat has stayed, with X amount of money already taken off as the client has already paid that. But the cat stayed here needlessly for 2 days. The owner asked to extend until Monday. We are open on Saturday but closed on Sunday. She could have picked up the cat on Saturday if she wanted to, and we did put that to her, but she declined. So no one feeds the cats on Sunday? How ridiculous! No, there are cattery staff who come in to feed the cats, but the clinic itself isn't open, so therefore we aren't able to do any pickups or drop-offs as computers time out for the day. Well, that's just absolutely ridiculous. You can speak to the manager or the boss about it if you'd like. No. So, how does the charging work? Per night, I presume? No, it's per day. However, if you arrive before 10 a.m., you'll get charged half a day instead of a full day. So why can't I pick up the cat later than if it's per day? I go on about our cattery hours and protocol, and we go back and forth for a while. I also explained to her that we charge per day because the cat is in that cage, and no other cat can be admitted into that cage while the previous cat is already there, and about the cleaning process of each cage. So, when do we have the cage till then? Until you collect the cat by 12 p.m. But why do I get charged for all of today? When is the cage paid for until? The charge is per day, meaning per 24 hours. That means from 12 a.m. Monday to 12 a.m. Tuesday. So, why can't I collect the cat when it's convenient for me at 7 p.m.? Ma'am, we close at 6 p.m. From 4 p.m. onwards, there are only 2 nurses in the clinic, and not only do we have consults, but we also have our surgery patients to discharge. This means that there isn't the availability for you to collect the cat later, as we always need to have 1 nurse on reception, which means you would need to wait until a nurse became available. This is just ridiculous. We will never use your cattery again. She collects the cat, and the cattery staff walk her and the cat to the car. The owner of the cat was in the car and was such a lovely lady, thanking our cattery staff for bringing the cat to her and for allowing her to collect the cat later. The best bit? She said she'd definitely be using us again, all in front of her entitled friend. LOL. TLDR, entitled woman wants to collect cat from Cattery when we are closed and not happy that we won't accommodate her. Don't you love the line about, when it's convenient for me? Like, isn't that how entitled people just are? Things just need to be convenient for me at all times, in all ways. It's just, ugh. Anyway, that is actually going to wrap up today's video. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and drop a like and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Real quick, I'd like to thank my patrons. On the screen, you should see my face palmers and my crazy K's. Thank you all so much for supporting me in this way. If you are interested in becoming a patron or looking at the original posts or sending me something to my email to possibly be included in a future video, all of that information is in the description box, so definitely check that out. And I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye!